Impressive 19-run win by Australia in the first ODI. Let's build our fantasy team for the second then on my 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPNcricinfo. Well, I don't know if we were expecting that as Andrew Miller joins me, UK editor of ESPNcricinfo, but it showed us why Australia is still a formidable 50-over team, Andrew.
It certainly did. I mean, they're World Cup semi-finalists, let's not forget that, and they gave England quite a pasting at Lords in the group stages of the World Cup as well. So, when their bowling unit fires, it is a formidable force, and it just so happened that they found enough runs, thanks to a fine partnership at the end there with Maxwell, showing why he's such a force in limited overs cricket. When Australia come together, they're always a threat, and England know that full well.
And they managed those runs in spite of not having Steve Smith in the 11. As we move to our pro tip for this one, Stephen Smith didn't play for the first ODI due to injury, and therefore he doesn't come into our 11 or substitutes. But if he does play, we do recommend that you consider having Steve Smith in. Any news on the eve of this game that any indication that Steve Smith may or may not be back, Andrew?
My instinct is he probably won't be. I mean, they've been a bit cagey about announcing the news in the first place. They said he passed one concussion test, but he'd have to have another before they could risk him. And, given what happened last year with Jofra Archer hitting him so hard on that head, I think they're probably likely to lead on the side of caution, especially, of course, given that Stoinis did all right coming into his place in the last game.
Yeah, fair enough. They do have that confidence, and they did get the runs in spite of Smith's absence in the first game. So let's see how many Aussies feature in our team in this one. Let's go to our first top recommendations. Before that, quick reminder on the My 11 Circle Fantasy app, 100 credits available for every user to build their fantasy team. 4 categories of players to choose from: batsmen, bowlers, wicketkeepers, and all-rounders. You can pick a maximum of 7 players from one team in any contest. Every player's individual credit value is listed on the app, and 4 substitutes that will help you pick in addition to the 11 as well. In our top picks, our captain choice is Josh Buttler, interestingly, even though he didn't get the runs in the first game. But given the summer that he has had, we would back someone like Buttler to succeed, especially now with the series on the line. Successful Buttler on his day can be devastating. We know he can get you some serious points if he does fire, so don't keep him out. Josh Hazlewood's our vice-captain choice with the sort of performance he had in that first game, man of the match and outstanding with the new ball and standout bowler in that game, and therefore not someone we want to keep out of our calculations. Mitchell Starc didn't quite have the same effect as Hazlewood, but we don't want to keep him out. He's in our top picks too. We don't know what he can produce on his days. As good a white ball bowler as any in the world, and Andrew's pointed out how he was in that World Cup just a year or so back. So Mitchell Starc also in our top picks. Glenn Maxwell's considered to be the man in form, a very fine knock of 77 to give Australia enough runs in the end, and therefore someone that we'd also like to keep in, given that he could give you points with the ball too. Jofra Archer is there too. He's been particularly effective with the white ball, seems to deliver almost every match. That ball to David Warner was a heck of a delivery, and therefore a man again who's got his tail up. Quick reminder, captains give you double the points and vice captains 1.5 times the points. We've gone for Josh Buttler and Josh Hazlewood, and Mitchell Starc, Glenn Maxwell and Jofra Archer among our top picks. Fair enough, Andrew?
Very fair picks. I certainly backed Josh Buttler to bounce back. I mean, he was the one guy who consistently transcended the conditions in the ODIs, and I think had he got himself in on that pitch, he certainly would have turned in a decent score. The only caveat I have with the selections is Mitchell Starc. I thought he looked a little bit laboured yesterday. I thought perhaps struggling with the groin strain. It's pretty cold there in Manchester, and I suspect they may consider resting him just because he is such a gun. They don't want to break him too soon, do they?
All right, fair enough. Let's keep an eye out on team news as we move to some value picks. And Marnus Labuschagne features in those value picks. He did get a bit of a start in that first ODI. Didn't go on to make a big score, but we shouldn't be doubting what he's capable of. And in the absence of Steve Smith, if he doesn't play, Labuschagne again, a big player for Australia in that middle order. Sam Billings is there too, and he's someone who's definitely going to be playing. You think Sam Billings after that 100 in vain, albeit in the first match, but the player in form and therefore among our value picks. Quick reminder, Marnus Labuschagne and Sam Billings as our value picks. In our whole team, there's Josh Buttler as captain, Sam Billings and Johnny Bairstow as keeper options. Owen Morgan, Marnus Labuschagne feature as well. So too does Mitchell Marsh, who played well in that first game, and Glenn Maxwell and Chris Wokes. Josh Hazlewood is vice-captain, Jofra Archer and Mitchell Starc. We've got Jason Roy, Adam Zampa, David Waller and Mark Wood among the substitutes. Andrew, given the question mark around Mitchell Starc, who would you rather have in that team?
I thought Mark Wood has looked very fierce on the occasions he's got the ball. He's a proper wicket taker, isn't he? And I think in these conditions, England are certainly looking for someone who can mix things up in the middle overs in the absence of Liam Plunkett. And I wonder whether Mark Wood might be the sort of guy they're looking at just to put hurry up batsmen when they need hurrying up. So I might like to see him in there, certainly for the wickets.
All right, so there you have it. Mark Wood, a potential option. Keep an eye out on team news for Steve Smith as well as Mitchell Starc as the series is on the line for England. And we'll be back with more from Andrew Miller ahead of the third and final ODI on my 11 Circle Fantasy Pick on ESPN Cricinfo.